Welcome back, guys. Feels like a while since I've dived into a game review, and good timing as well, as some dickhead stole my phone, which I use as my camera. And timing again because we've just got our second Pokemon mainline game of the year. I spoke about Pokemon Legends before, and go check that out if you want to, but I mentioned in that review how I wanted them to take what they had done in Legends and implement it better into their Gen 9 Pokemon game, which they kind of half did. It's your typical Pokemon game. You're a young kid, catching Pokemon, defeating 8 gym leaders, solving the mysteries of the world and all that, but the developers, Gamefreak, wanted to elevate it in this era. And there's a lot that went wrong here. Glaring issues which are deservingly criticised, but I think despite the negatives, we should also be able to take away the goods. Scarlet and Violet levels up from that large open field gameplay brought to us by Legends, and we now have a full-scale open world adventure. Not only that, but the story has also opened up, with the option to choose of any 3 storylines to focus on: taking down the enemy bad guys in their hideouts, tracking down large Titan Pokemon, or fighting 8 gym leaders in any order you choose. Those 3 options do come with some big asterisks though. I suppose we better rip off the plaster and talk about the performance levels. The game tanks hard when it comes to its performance. Models and environments tend to pop in and out of the screen noticeably, textures and shadows often struggle to load on time if at all, and the game barely manages to hit 30 frames per second at best of times. If these elements are a deal breaker for you, then you've got no chance at liking this game. Even Pokemon Legends performs at a better rate, albeit Legends are more large open fields than being a whole explorable world. It's just a shame to see the great reception of Pokemon Legends and then try to go bigger, and in this respect just fails badly. It's not even a graphically demanding game. When you see games like Xenoblade Chronicles prosper and look amazing, it further underlines how Game Freak shouldn't have been struggling with this. And whilst you're very much correct to slate this game for failing at the foundations, I want to look into the rest of the game despite that, and there are some great positives still. For starters, it's great we took a step forward going into a fully open world. Depending on which game you choose, you get a certain type of legendary which you can ride around the map. This is a pretty fun way to travel, especially after you progress and continue to unlock ways that your legendary can maneuver around the map. Pokemon wise as well, the new gen designs are pretty unique and interesting and bring a lot of character with them, though they have limited you in how you can interact with them. Legends had the ability for you to have all 6 Pokemon out on the field with you, whereas you can only have 1 here. But a great improvement that we do get from that is that our Pokemon can now quick battle wild Pokemon on the map. It makes for a great quality of life for grinding purposes, but some of the AI behind this is janky as hell, and also the Pokemon can be quite slow, so you can't run at normal pace, otherwise you lose your Pokemon and it goes back into its ball. Again, another simple problem that really shouldn't be there. Some of the cutscenes and animations in here are pretty great. There's a caveat of performance issues here, but in general, cutscenes seem to take less of the hit for that, and they do look kind of awesome. Going back to that freedom of gameplay that I mentioned earlier, there's this theme of each positive coming with a problem. Gyms can be challenged in any order, but world level doesn't scale with you, and certain badges increase the level cap of Pokemon which will obey you. So in theory, whilst you can, nearly everyone will be forced to follow the same route for the gyms. Also, pre-gym battles are replaced with these new mini-game challenges that you have to complete. They're just unoffensively easy, I guess. Likewise, we have new bad guys here, Team Star, and we have hideouts which we can raid and then take out the big bad dude. Character designs are all top tier, and the boss fights themselves are tough and entertaining, but the concept of these hideout battles is very unrefined. These overworld quick battles will either be too easy or very difficult, subject to your type matchups. They don't feel challenging or rewarding to complete, and I'd almost rather just skip that entirely and go straight into the boss battle. And Titan Pokemon look great. Again, it's an interesting concept, but very slight in execution. They never really challenge you, and they're as simple as finding on the world map and defeating. It does give you upgrades for your legendary though, which makes it worthwhile. Sword and Shield's god-awful Dynamaxing has been replaced with a slightly less awful looking Terrestrializing. The concept itself is cool. Any Pokemon has the ability to crystallize essentially and change its type, which can really mix up the gameplay, but God, I am just not a fan of those flowers that pop up on their heads. I'm also certain you can't battle online without this feature either, or with a 6v6 full team, and the lack of both of those options is just completely crazy to me. Customization is back, with some pros and some cons again. Hairstyles are more varied, but clothes are reduced to a painstaking minimum, which is a big shame, especially when NPC characters look so interesting and vibrant. Here we just look pretty dull. There's a new in-depth sandwich mechanic, which I couldn't even care less about, and the new terror Terra raids play out much faster than the Dynamax raids back in Sword and Shield. And I think going into this, I was just ready to hate all over this so much. And for sure, some of the frame rates and NPC movements are laughably bad, and yet I'm still having a good time with this. I just love getting sidetracked, catching endless amounts of Pokemon, and the new dex entry animations make it feel much more satisfying to fill up your Pokedex. It's a colourful world and it's filled with interesting designs. I think I personally managed to get over that performance problem and have a good time with it, and maybe others have too. From a review standpoint, it would be unfair to say I hated this, but also irresponsible to say that I'd recommend this either. Hopefully my gameplay has helped give you more of an idea, and also hopefully Gamefreak patches out these performance problems. I know they've done it in the past, and if they do that, this game will jump up to a much higher rating. So maybe sit back and wait on this one if you can, but if you're not fussed about the looks and you can, drastically lower your standards on how it runs, you might get something out of this. So yeah, that's Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Let me know if you're going to pick this one up. If you have, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. If you found this review helpful, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. It always helps out. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews on movies, anime and video games. Until next one guys, take care. Bye bye.